Hey guys, Tony here from Hack the Movies. I hope you enjoyed this episode that's coming up. Stick around for the very end. I have a really fun, cool announcement about what's happening next week. And I think you guys are really going to like it, so stick around. Hi guys, and welcome to Hack the Movies video for my show talking about tapes. How you doing?
Oh, good.
Doing very well.
Great energy.
Thank you.
Great energy. Okay, we've got Brian and Mike here.
What's going on?
Brian's edited a couple videos for me, and
like
Mike shot some of my stuff. He was even the actor for the Dinosaur Man in the new thing.
Yeah, I was the lead dinosaur.
Yeah. Scooby-Doo from 2002.
A classic.
Yes. Why did you pick this movie? Why are we doing this one?
I like it. I like it a lot. I think it's an underrated movie. I think it doesn't get the appreciation it deserves.
Okay, well, you're lucky I happen to have this in my girlfriend's collection.
Everybody happens to have it
Yeah,
in their DVD
in my girlfriend's
collection.
DVD collection, I found it. I'm like, well, I guess I'm doing Scooby-Doo. Out of the list that you gave me, I'm like, well, I own that one.
The list of 3 movies,
Yes.
2 of them were obscure Japanese movies.
Yes. So, Scooby-Doo, what can I say? I watched the reruns as a kid, as most of us did.
Yep.
I watched a little bit of that 13 Ghosts of Scooby-Doo show, which that's when things got weird. Then I watched Pup Named Scooby-Doo. That was probably the last new Scooby-Doo show I watched growing up. And then I saw this movie in theaters, and I guess I was in like a weird age for it, where I'm like, I mean, I like Scooby-Doo, but this is kind of like appealing to real young kids, and it came out like around the same time as Spider-Man, and I think I either wanted to see Spider-Man again, or I was just waiting for Spider-Man. I didn't really care about the Scooby-Doo movie. And I haven't seen it since VHS.
Would you say Spider-Man was a better movie than this?
Yeah.
Oh, man.
Yeah, I'd say that's actually probably fair.
I'm going to be the odd one out on this one.
Really?
Yeah, no.
Alright, so what's your experience with Scooby-Doo, the franchise?
Pretty much Where Are You, Scooby-Doo, the classic series rerun. Pup Named Scooby-Doo, obviously. Scooby and Scrappy, I forget what that exact series was called.
There was like a couple of them, I think. Yeah.
And then this movie, ironically.
Okay. This movie, from the director of Home Alone 3, who went on to direct the Smurfs trilogy, so we're dealing with talent here. You know what? I can't make fun. That guy probably made a shit ton of money. Like, these movies probably make a lot of money.
Yeah.
He's laughing to the bank every day of
He's
the week.
laughing to the bank, and we're here talking about his movie.
Yeah.
Who the fuck are
Yeah,
we?
yeah, that's true. You know, I don't even have, on my notes here, I don't even have the director's name written down.
Oh, I don't have it written down either. It's like Raja something. I forget how to say his name. But yeah, so this movie, everyone knows now, this was gonna be like a more adult-themed movie. It seems like they were pushing for a PG-13 rating.
Mm-hmm.
James Gunn claims there's an R-rated version of this movie, but I highly doubt that.
I would love to just see the darkest side of Scooby-Doo possible. It's like the Dark Knight of Scooby-Doos.
Yeah, well, everything I was reading... Wait, we'll get back to that Batman connection in a minute.
Okay.
Everything I was reading, it seems like it was decided, like, pretty early on, like, after the cast signed on, to make it more family-friendly. So, I mean, they probably fixed a couple things to knock it down to PG, but I highly doubt there's an R rating. I think he just threw that out there.
Yeah, this
Release
movie's
the
pretty
gun.
raunchy for PG even.
Yeah, but, like, for PG-13, though, it would be fine. But yeah,
Yeah.
release the gun cut of Scooby-Doo. Is
That'd
there
be
anyone calling for that?
insane.
Does he mean like a script that's rated R?
Maybe a script. I mean, scripts don't get rated, but there's probably
Yeah.
a script that's meant to be like that.
The problem is we'll never actually know because the franchise owners of Scooby-Doo will never let that even leak out with, like, name changes.
Yeah. Apparently there was a deleted scene where Velma and Daphne made out, so we were robbed of that.
What?
Yeah. So yeah, I guess let's get into this movie unless you guys have any other background information. We all have different sets of notes here. We're not all on the same page.
No, I mean, written by James Gunn,
Yes.
which famously is making the Suicide Squad.
Oh yeah,
The
Suicide Squad.
first iteration of it. We didn't get any movies before that.
Yeah, there's no Suicide Squad movies before this. Yeah, I will say the cast is pretty spot on.
Oh god, yeah, no, that was the one thing I kept commenting when I was watching it, is like, I watched it a long time ago and I haven't watched it recently. seeing all the huge names, especially for that era, all the names that were in it, it's just obscene how many crazy huge actors there are from like different backgrounds too, which is the weirdest thing.
And they were all pretty popular at that time. Sarah Michelle Gellar and Freddie Prinze are reuniting from I Know You Did Last Summer. They show up in this. He's Freddie Prinze Jr. plays Fred.
Yep, perfect casting.
Yeah, Sarah Michelle Gellar plays Daphne. What's his face? Mathew Lillard, who was a meme for like 3 months last year, does Shaggy. And this movie started my Linda Cardellini crush as Velma.
Okay, I could see that.
Velma is, I'm going to say this a couple times in this review, Velma is distractingly hot in this movie. For the character of Velma, you don't usually consider, like the way she's drawn. But in this movie, I'm like, holy shit, I had a thing for Velma in this.
Would you say that this individually started the thick Velma memes back in the day?
This probably did, although she's not thick.
She's not thick, but nah. You know how that fan art exaggerates.
Yeah, there was that fan art. I don't think she's thick, though.
Let's go to, like, your t-shirt,
yeah,
for
she's
example.
Not like this.
The one thing that I think is cool, too, is you said about Mathew Lillard, just how much it sparked for the future of his career with him voicing Shaggy after that.
Yeah.
Just becoming a huge Scooby-Doo persona in general.
It reminds me of J.K. Simmons as, getting back to Spider-Man, J. Jonah Jameson. He did that in cartoons up until recently, and then they brought him back. So, yeah, it's kind of interesting those movies came out at the same time, and these two actors stayed with that franchise in some way, shape, or form for years.
Nailed it.
Great casting on their part.
Oh,
for
yeah.
Shaggy.
Yeah, and the movie starts off like an end to an episode, which that ghost animatronic costume is pretty awesome. What do they call him? The Phantom something?
Oh man, I did not write down.
No, I don't. Yeah, I don't have his name here. The only thing I have is that he's groping Daphne for some reason.
Oh yeah, no, we're gonna talk about that in a second.
Okay. Yeah, so this ghost is attacking a toy factory, I guess, and he's all spooky and scary. And it's, if you've seen Scooby-Doo is very formulaic. The original cartoon, it's always, the mystery machine shows up. Someone's like, oh, there's a monster or a ghost in this property that I own. And then there's always a mean character that's like, get away, kids. And then at the end, it turns out it wasn't a ghost. It was that guy from earlier.
Yep.
And it's always some kind of insurance fraud scheme. That's every episode of the original Scooby-Doo. Spoiler for every episode.
If you've never seen the original run of Scooby-Doo, it's like, 60 years of being out.
We found out Scooby-Doo's not even that original. It was kind of modeled off of a 60s live-action show. And when you look at the cast, it looks like Fred and Daphne and Shaggy.
Weird, I
forget what it was called. I'll put an image up here. So yeah, they unmask the villain, and it's Old Man
Smithers.
Something
like that, yeah.
Before they even do that, there's two weird things that stood out to me in the movie.
Yeah.
There's one where Fred just completely misses the ghost and ends up just drenching Velma with water, like as if it's some kind of weird pervy, like contest. But it's like weird, like going into a little bit further in the movie, you kind of realize that maybe he has a thing for Velma, and that was a weird play. Like, was he just doing
there was
that?
like a thing. I mean, he says she turns him on.
Yeah, that's exactly.
I think he's just a sexual deviant.
Yeah, he's just weird.
Yeah, I think he's just a male bimbo, to be honest.
Yeah. And then it's the fact that Shaggy has like the most legit skateboarding skills like ever, like busting a 5-0 in the middle of a toy factory quarter pipe. Like,
we forgot to talk about everyone looks great in this movie. Then we get to the title character, Scooby-Doo, and he looks horrible.
Oh, I don't think he looks that bad.
I don't think he looks that bad.
He looked pretty bad.
So I recently just am watching Lovecraft Country, and some of the CGI in that show makes me like be happy that Scooby-Doo is as good as it is. Because it could be much worse.
But that's like a show. This was like a big...
This was also like 20 years ago.
Yeah, no, but like you think, like, it was weird. It depends on who did it. But I'm thinking of like, I didn't really like them, but the Harry Potter movies have some dated CGI, but it looks better than this. Obviously, Lord of the Rings was blowing everyone out the water. This is like Jar Jar Binks. This is below Jar Jar Binks. And
I would say it's on par with them. They both kind of have that weird, like, plasticky, like, clay
and
mashup.
he's like not colored right in a lot of scenes. He looks too bright. Like, he doesn't match the lighting in the area. It looks bizarre. It looks pretty bad.
Yeah, it's... I attribute it to, like, the early 2000s, but then you're, like, bringing up examples, and I'm like, oh, man, maybe it was just
Yeah, I mean,
great.
Spider-Man had some shitty CGI, but for the most part, it looked good. Like that, that's another thing. You see Spider-Man that same year, and then you see Scooby-Doo, and you're like, oh wow, the effects suck in this.
Yeah, that's a good comparison.
Yeah. So Pam Anderson shows up.
Yep.
Turns out it's her toy factory.
Is she driving the mystery machine?
Yeah, she is.
So she's driving the mystery machine through her own door or wall or whatever it is.
Yeah.
Damaging the property.
Because we find out it's her toy factory.
And that's...
where she makes environmentally safe action things.
The biggest thing is that's what makes it the scariest thing, is that her character's involvement with revealing the ghost as like the janitor of the place. It's like, he's the scariest character of this entire thing.
Yeah.
He wanted her, but then even earlier he says that, or what was it? Daphne says that he was like groping her while he was like kidnapping her and stuff. Like, this dude is just a scary real life villain.
Yeah. But the Pam Anderson thing is funny because she was a big celebrity at the time, and that reminds me of the Scooby-Doo show shoehorned in celebrities.
Yep.
Like the Harlem Globetrotters, and even like characters for like Batman showed up. Like, that is a very Scooby-Doo thing to do, and just have a completely out-of-place celebrity show up.
More recently, wrestling, like John Cena was throwing boulders in an episode or something.
Yeah, something like that. Well, Hanna-Barbera and wrestling, that's a whole other different topic. They've made many things like that. So this is like the end of their first round of adventures, I guess. Mm-hmm. Because what's their reasoning, I think?
Well, Fred takes credit for everything. He's being kind of like an egotistical douche.
Yeah.
And everyone's kind of just fed up with it seems.
Yeah.
Everyone has like their own reasons for not really wanting to do it anymore.
Okay.
Everyone except for good guy Shaggy.
Yes.
He and Scooby are the only two that are like, come on, guys, let's not. Yeah. And everyone's like, nah, screw you too.
Yeah, I guess Daphne's like tired of being like kidnapped.
Yeah.
And obviously Velma feels sidelined whenever Fred's around. So they break up. And this is like one of the funnier jokes in the beginning, which reminds me how this was supposed to be a little bit more mature. But you see the mystery machine, there's smoke coming out of it.
Yep.
Oh, yeah.
And everyone used to joke that Shaggy and Scooby were like stoners.
Oh,
and I remember being like a kid in the theater, like, oh my god, are they going to do it? And then they're like cooking something instead. I'm like, okay, that seems about right.
Can you imagine you're sitting in the theater and they just open the doors and it's just, they're just smoking like nobody's smoked before.
So then they get invited to Spooky Island.
Yes.
Yep.
By that weird creepy kid. I want you to notice something if you watch it when he says, all you can eat. His mouth doesn't like move and his teeth just stay flat, like, all you can eat. And you're like, oh.
Is he supposed to, jumping ahead, is he supposed to be like a monster man?
I don't think so. I mean, maybe. But...
No, I think he is, because it makes sense.
Yeah,
because he's acting so weird, and it makes sense if he is.
So they want Scooby and Shaggy to come to the island. They get to the airport, and we see everyone is there.
Yep.
The mystery team is there, and they all have updated versions of their outfits, which I liked. I thought that was pretty clever.
Yep.
Yeah, that was a nice call, too, to say, like, hey, like, things have progressed 2 years, I think it was.
Yeah. One thing I like in those 2 years, I think I have written here, Velma is helping NASA make military weapons.
Yeah,
like missile defense and stuff, and it's like, oh, that was a weird direction for her to take.
Yeah, that seems kind of out of character.
Like, I know she was smart, but like I thought she was like mystery solving smart. I didn't know she was like
a detective or something.
Yeah,
like an actual detective.
Like, drones.
She got so angry with Fred that she just took all that anger and channeled it into weaponry to destroy and level cities.
So then they get on the plane, and I think we have this all in our notes. Why is Scooby in disguise?
So that's before they even get on the plane, though.
Yeah,
he's roaming through the airport, and I was like, the thing that I wrote down is like, everyone knows he's a dog. You know it. I know it. Yeah. The only two people that don't seem to know it is the dude who's whistling the like cat call whistle, like the and Fred. They're the only two who don't realize this in the entire airport. The staff knows.
Yeah,
they still let them on the plane.
Yeah,
but like, why? You could bring an animal on the plane. They have to go like underneath.
I think that's why. I think they probably didn't want Scooby to have to like go underneath or something.
That's real convoluted. I mean, this is a stupid universe where dogs can talk. Just forget the plane. Just forget the disguise. They just let Scooby on. Why not?
Yeah, he is a celebrity.
Yeah.
That was the weird part too. Is like they do talk about, they don't let big dogs on the plane, but then you also wouldn't be able to have some of the plane plot armor, we'll say.
Okay, so there's another part on the plane then that kind of like, well, what does it matter if he's a dog? Because there's a cat on the plane.
Yeah.
And Scooby just straight up kills a cat on the plane.
It's not on camera. We don't know.
Another really good joke. Shaggy meets the girl of his dreams, Mary Jane.
Mary Jane.
Yep.
That was pretty
They were
funny.
alluding to it again, yeah.
And also, this started my Isla Fisher crush. I forget how to say her first name. But she's in Hot Rod and Arrested Development and stuff. I'm used to seeing her as a redhead. I'm not used to seeing her as a blonde. That kind of threw me off, but...
I'm not gonna lie, I've never seen anything else with her in it. Like, both those things that you just listed, Arrested Development and Hot Rod, have not seen either.
You've had to have seen her in something. She, the Wedding Crashers. She's like the horny sister.
Never saw Wedding Crashers. Go ahead, keep naming.
Okay. We're gonna be here. We're gonna be here all day. We're gonna keep going.
Yeah, we're gonna keep moving along. We'll find out after the episode.
Yeah. Can we discuss the fact that she's like the only other human being that eats dog food for some reason?
Can we? All right.
It's vegetarian.
Does someone know the Hanna-Barbera expanded universe Scooby-Doo lore? What are Scooby snacks? Are they dog treats? Are they cookies? Is Scooby related to the brand? Do they own it? Is he named after it? What is it?
Scooby has to be related to the brand because they have his symbol on it. So that is one thing. But they are actual dog biscuits that are made of veggies. So it's a vegetarian alternative to like the traditional dog biscuit. That I do know for some reason.
Okay, but like, what is Scooby's relationship? Does he own the company who has it?
That I don't know. I know there's a connection. I don't know what the actual connection is. Because you got to think, they are celebrities. Like, even in the universe when everyone's like there in the beginning, like they're celebrities. So I'd imagine they're just a product that exceeded. Kind of like, think about Arnold Palmer. Like, he didn't golf for a long time, and now he's unfortunately passed away. They're still making Arnold Palmer. He's still known as Arnold Palmer.
So if
that's the case, then how does she not know them?
Yeah,
like,
that's a really weird thing.
And Scooby's got hands on the planes. We literally we watched him knock out Fred in like one punch. Like he's got legit, like he's got moves.
So they arrived to the island, and I forgot that Rowan Atkinson, Mr. Bean, was the bad guy.
Yeah, this was actually the first movie I had seen him in.
Really?
'Cause I was young when it came out. I was like 8 or 9 or something like that.
Jesus Christ.
Actually, it might have been this or Rat Race now that I'm thinking about it.
Nah.
So
I saw him in a Mr. Bean thing. Yeah. Anyway, he shows up, and what's his name, by the way? You have it written down.
It is Emil Mondavarius.
God tier villain name.
That's
just
a great name,
yeah.
Mondavarius. And I think, what's his face? Fred keeps messing it up the whole movie.
He calls him like Machu Picchu or something in the one scene. Like,
so they're hanging out on the island. They notice, like, I think here they notice the kids are kind of talking weird, like real stereotypical.
Yeah.
How's the island?
Are you tricking on me?
Back off my grill, son! Carol, what are you doing?
that dialogue feels oddly natural, like as if some church pastor tried to write this.
Yeah.
It doesn't feel too inflated, yet it doesn't feel too connected to like actual slang. It was such a weirdly good balance for what they did.
This movie is very 2000s.
It is.
From like the slang to like the outfits, the hairstyles, the music choices.
Mary Jane has like a clip-on phone on her skirt. I'm like, I haven't seen a clip-on phone in a very long time. But there's one really good joke that one of the bad guys calls Scooby-Doo.
Yeah.
And like the guy's like, all right, I got a call for Doo. And some guy's like, Melvin Doo? They're like, no, Scooby. And like, for some reason that made me crack up. And then it gets called back in the end, which made me crack up again.
Yeah.
But I did kind of like how very obvious the caller is. Like, yeah, we got some hamburgers. Go into the dark woods.
Yeah.
Is that, so watch that scene again. Have you ever seen Don't Be a Menace in South Central?
Yeah.
The cheeseburger scene? That, for some reason, the way he says it, the cadence that he has and everything like that, I'm like, is this a South Central reference? And the reason I ask that is, there's a lot of hip-hop, there's a lot of rap references in it, and it might just be, like, the loosest reference that I caught, like, ever.
Maybe.
It was so weird. Like, I got this bag of hamburgers. Like...
So they're looking around. There's, like, a crazy bald guy who's, like, showing ghosts and stuff, and Velma's like, it's all holograms and whatnot. But I like Daphne goes exploring.
Yep.
And she bumps into my good friend, Miguel Nunez Jr., from Return of the Living Dead and Street Fighter and Joanna Man. He was Joanna Man.
Was he Joanna Man?
No
He was
idea.
Joanna Man.
No.
Yes.
Really?
Yes.
That's ridiculous.
Really, really good actor. He was in Carnosaur 2. Great film. Great film. Really, really funny B-movie actor. Leprechaun 4. He's in Leprechaun 4. I do like the scene with him because he's like, whatever you do, don't go into that scary castle. And I like how Daphne, she's trying to be smarter.
Yeah.
And she's like, no, wait. You want me to go to the castle?
His character is so underappreciated in this movie, too. He's in the movie for like 3 or 4 minutes, and he has the funniest lines and the funniest way to say his lines, and he's nothing but a way to move the plot like an inch.
What is he doing on the island?
He's the only one who's not evil. Yeah, he's
just
still
live
chilling there. I'm thinking he's probably like one of the aboriginals from that island, and he's just carrying on the traditions because he's got all the weird old school stuff. But
he's just hanging out,
he got casted. That's what happened.
Yeah. So then, when did they introduce the monsters? Is that before they're in the castle, I think?
So technically, yes, at the luau, they show them in the hologram.
And also, Scooby almost gets attacked by
Right.
one.
Scooby almost gets attacked, and that's when I wrote in the note, the monsters look horrible.
Yeah, they do.
They look. Yeah.
They look. You can
They look
try to
bad.
defend Scooby-Doo,
No,
but you cannot do it. And they look like they're all at like a different frame rate. Like, they don't look like they're animated at 24 frames per second. They look like they're 18. I don't know if that was a conscious choice. Or,
Yeah. Well, now
what?
that you mentioned that, yeah, they do seem a bit off from everything else.
It almost seems-
They look like rabbits, which are weird.
It almost
Yeah,
seems
they have a
like-
weird design.
Yeah.
It almost seems like they put them on a green screen on a PlayStation game and then just injected the green screen footage onto the game. Like that's the best way I could describe it.
Yeah. So then they go to the Gothic Castle, and it looks like a Tim Burton set.
Literally the sheer amount of practical sets that they use on this that look great.
Oh, yeah,
is
yeah.
insane.
And the Tim Burton reference, one of the first teasers for this movie, I don't know if you guys ever saw the teaser for this, but it's basically a dark, spooky mansion, and the camera's going around, and like the Tim Burton Batman music plays, so you think, I remember being like, holy shit, is there another I don't know why I would be so excited, because Batman and Robin was the last movie I saw, but for a minute I'm like, is there a new Batman movie? And then it goes through the mansion, then you see the ears and the thing, and then the lights turn on, and it's Scooby-Doo.
You know, when you say it, it sounds oddly familiar. I might have seen that.
You probably
I
have
kind
seen
of
it.
remember the ear part and just being like, what?
So yeah, I was like, this looks like a Tim Burton set. I'm surprised he didn't direct it. I mean, he went on to direct worst TV show movies like Dark Shadows and whatever the hell else. I've lost track of what Tim Burton's doing.
Lots.
But the ride inside the Gothic Castle looks insane.
Yeah.
Looks great.
Yeah, I want to go on that goddamn ride.
So my problem with that is it's so dangerous, though. Unreasonable amounts of dangerous. And it's like there are literal, ride designers, there's contract union workers in there making this. There's safety engineers going in, and it's just like, oh, yeah, no, perfectly sharpened. Yeah, these are great. Let's just kill teens, I guess.
Oh, spikes at a dead end? Perfect.
Yeah. Well, to be fair, they're not sitting in the carts. Maybe if they were in the carts, it would be fine.
Maybe.
You're not supposed to run through the thing.
I think it's awful that Shaggy and Scooby are at the exact angle that they need to be at to be caught by the sausage animatronics.
Oh yeah, which look like the thing. Like the chicken opens up. Like that looked like really cool. Like I want to see that in a scary movie, not Scooby-Doo. But I like when they find the tape that the cult has, and it's like teaching you find out monsters. How to talk, and the guy's like, yeah, I always watch the latest vid on the box. And I'm guessing he means TV, but there was a music channel called The Box. I don't know if you guys remember that.
No.
Yeah. And it was basically, you had VH1, MTV, and maybe this is like a local Pennsylvania thing, but it was The Box. So I thought that's what he was talking about, but it's the most cliche 2000s thing you could say.
Oh, yeah.
Daphne finds, what do they call it? The triangle.
Hold on. I have it here.
The pyramid
You have
of
it written
something.
down?
I do have it written down. It is the Damon-ritis.
Okay. And it looks like the box from Hellraiser. And the big cage it's in looks like the box from Hellraiser. And I had a really big Hellraiser vibe from that room, which I was not expecting in Scooby-Doo.
That's actually
there's
the
a lot
R-cut.
of...
That's it right there.
Oh, it's just Hellraiser.
They just come out and it's just like, oh, it's just a Hellraiser movie after this is brutal.
And then we get to the worst scene in the movie where Shaggy and Scooby fart and burp.
Yeah, that was weird. That was kind of like uncomfortable to watch.
That's like, oh wow, that previous scene might have scared kids too much. Let's put some farting and burping in. And
yeah, it's definitely a kid. It's like a kid bait. Like, hey,
yeah.
here's.
And then Daphne is like choosing to stand behind Shaggy while he's shitting himself. I thought that was very odd.
Yeah,
like,
she just
she's
takes
like,
it.
Ew, and I'm like, move.
She comes
Walk
in, she's
away.
like, oh god.
Why are you
still?
Why are you standing behind him? Creepy bald guy is spying on Velma. And of course, like with every Scooby-Doo thing, they had to drag Scrappy-Doo into it.
Yeah.
And I like that the movie is smart enough to know that everyone hates Scrappy-Doo. I really enjoy that.
I've got some. Go ahead and say what you're gonna say first, because I'm gonna drop a bomb on this one that people might not have noticed. So
okay, I will. So Scrappy-Doo, she's flashing back to the good old days. And it shows that Scrappy-Doo was kind of an asshole. Scrappy-Doo actually related to Scooby-Doo? Isn't that like... He's a different breed of dog, I think.
He's like a cousin or something.
A niece or nephew in that situation or something, yeah.
So basically, he was just a dick. And they threw him out. And they, like, left him. But I guess they realized that would make people feel sad. So they have Velma sneak in a line where she's like, he wasn't even a puppy. He had a gland disorder.
So that's what's about to make this big bomb all the more weird. If you watch the scene where he starts peeing on Daphne, because that's a thing.
Yeah. Marking his territory.
So, that's an adult dog peeing on Daphne. Fred tells him you can't do that again. And if you listen just a little bit to the audio, he goes, ooh, as he's peeing on her. So, is Scrappy-Doo a weird water sportsy guy?
Probably.
It's the weirdest, like, series of events that happens. And I sat there and I'm watching and I'm like, there's no way you'd catch this as a kid. But I'm sitting there and I'm like, maybe the internet's just ruined me. But I'd watch this whole scene. I'm like, oh my god, this is awful.
But I mean, like I said, they were smart enough to know that the audience hated that guy because everyone hated Scrappy-Doo. There was no.
I didn't mind him.
You're an idiot. Everyone hated Scrappy-Doo. He's like, oh, what was the green guy from the Flintstones?
The Martian character?
Yeah, what was his name?
I don't know his name.
They worked him into one of the Flintstones live action movies, but I don't remember it. I hope they pointed out.
The one with Kyle MacLachlan?
No, the sequel to that's the good one. There were sequels to it though.
There's a good one.
Huh?
There's a good one.
Well, I mean, if you're gonna watch all live action Flintstones movies, there's one that's gonna be slightly better than the rest. But no, I kind of like when things come back and they realize a character that didn't work. I wasn't a big fan of the new seasons of X-Files, but the best thing they did is a girl from like one of the later seasons that was supposed to replace Mulder. Everyone hated her character. She was the worst. So in the new seasons, they just made her a bad guy, even though it makes no sense. Just because they knew people like me hated her.
Yeah.
So I kind of like that. That was what this movie was going for with that. So then the monsters attack, and they're real monsters. Which has been done in the cartoons, but like it was weird when the cartoons did it.
Yeah.
It kind of breaks the formula. I mean, I guess maybe it's being like, oh, you know what? You've seen that a million times, but now they have to deal with real monsters. But it always, even when they did in the cartoons, it was just too different because that was the fun part of the cartoons was the whodunit, who's behind the mask.
Yeah, Scooby-Doo was always like, it was always grounded. It's in some way, it was like, oh, well, we saw these ghosts, but no, they were just projections or something. Yeah. Like, there was always like a logical explanation.
Yeah, that was like the fun. I usually always figured out who the guy was.
Yeah.
But it was fun at the end of each episode to figure out how they did all their stuff. And when you change it to the monsters.
Yeah, and like voodoo magic and like just weird stuff.
Although I appreciate them trying to rip the mask off.
So they did that in this movie, though. They did it in the first 5 minutes.
Yeah.
They do it twice in the movie.
I
guess. 2 climaxes.
And they do work in a little bit of a whodunit at the end. But I don't know. I think for me, like the first like live action Scooby-Doo movie, I was kind of like put off how it didn't just do the formula the way. Not like it had to be loyal to the formula, but like it changed a lot. It ended up not being. The whole mystery thing is kind of forgotten about, and it's this supernatural thing for a bit. Until the end, where you're like, oh, right, there's like a mystery we're supposed to figure out.
There is some, yeah.
Daphne and Shaggy and Scooby teaming up is like the 13 Ghosts of Scooby-Doo spinoff. Because it was just them, Scrappy, and a bunch of new characters.
No Fred and Velma.
No Fred and Velma.
Okay.
Yeah, I thought that show got canceled, and they released an animated movie last year that finally finished the story. The show got canceled in 1985.
Weird.
So if you were a fan of 13 Ghosts of Scooby-Doo, you've been waiting a really long time.
Yeah,
Have, like one season and then a movie to finish the story.
Yeah, because they never found the 13th ghost. I forget what the plot was.
Some writer on that show was like, finally.
Yeah, I forget what the plot of the show was, but I remember specifically the only main characters were Shaggy, Scooby, and Daphne.
So, like, did that have any loose connection to the movie 13 Ghosts? Like, at all?
No. I'd have to watch the show again. Maybe there's some reference to the original 13 Ghosts, but I don't think. I'm gonna say no. Oh, a connection between those movies. Apparently, Mathew Lillard got the role in this because he was in 13 Ghosts. I think someone recommended him from that. I was looking at the trivia while watching this, and I forgot to write it down. But I think he got recommended.
I forgot he was the super smart guy in that.
Yeah. This really dates the movie. Mm-hmm. Getting back to Spider-Man, much like Macy Gray dates the Spider-Man movie, Sugar Ray is in this.
Yeah.
Which, their image is totally altered in this for me. So you continue that few minutes and they like get chased into like that weird little area after like, playing the little set and everything like that. They go from like, hey, we're a California pop band to like New York hardcore music where they're tearing down a venue, bashing through the windows and everything like that. I'm like, oh man.
I appreciate that like the Sugar Ray band actually was like joined in on the mayhem.
Yeah. Can we talk about how Fred speaks like he's someone who listened to Limp Bizkit for the first time?
Yeah.
Yo, the biatch was like, what? And I was like, later on.
So they're tearing down the barn.
Yep.
Can we talk about the fact that Shaggy almost commits homicide during that scene?
Yeah.
like legitimate homicide. So during this past summer, I injured my knee in an ATV accident. And it was a pretty minor one, like dislocation, everything like that. It hurt me pretty bad. I was out of commission for a few months. Yeah. Shaggy full-on rams the door that Fred's trying to come through, aiming for the head with the ATV. If you watch the scene, it's not even addressed because it's like the background. Yeah. But literally smashing right into him. Like, if Fred was actually there, his body's wrecked. His soul would be trying to go through and just be like, yep, nope, that's gone.
We get a revelation during the scene. Mary Jane gets like slapped in the face with a branch.
That is the most terrifying moment of this movie.
She looks like, and I don't know if I've reviewed it yet, before or after this, whatever, but it reminds me of The Devil's Advocate. Mm-hmm. There's a couple scenes where like girls show their demon face, and her face in this kind of looks like their demon face.
I've never seen
And I remember like being in the theater being like, oh god, like that actually like scared me for a second.
Yeah, that was terrifying.
Yeah, and then there's some kind of fight, whatever. When do they reveal that the sunlight kills them? That's when they like touch the thing and Velma gets her body back?
Yeah, because she's outside and then it
Yeah, and that's very
so this
original.
So that's after this part where they go into the cave and they find like the soul thing or whatever.
Right.
Which reminds me of that scene from Hercules where he goes down.
Oh yeah. I hate the Disney Hercules, but I know what you're talking about.
Yeah, okay. That scene also terrified me as a child.
The thing that was weird to me about that scene too is like instead of just using their faces and just kind of making them like blue or something like that, like they had done in previous movies many times before, they decided to go full CGI with their faces and make them look like weird, like second-rate dolls of themselves.
Yeah, they look they looked unsettling. I didn't like that. I didn't like that. But yeah, so they get killed by sunlight, and it's like, really? That's what you came up with? I mean, that's like...
Yeah.
If you're gonna go for, like, what's my monster's weakness? Sunlight is, like, the first one you go for.
What's funny is, like, they start using that sunlight for a second, but it's, like, while Shaggy's trying to pull those faces out.
Yeah.
And, like, there's, like, a split second where he just, like, he finds a guy, and he's just like... Yeah, no, you're not my friend. He like dips him back in. He just damns this dude into purgatory for like ever.
Just let him out. Let them all out.
Yeah.
Right.
Releasing them leads to the body switching thing, where Fred is a pervert because he gets Daphne's body. He's like, I can look at myself naked, and it's like,
yeah, that was
legit
weird.
Quote there too.
Yeah,
like, that's the weird part. Like, ugh.
And then they're like constantly switching, and it's kind of fun. It doesn't feel like Scooby-Doo though, but the body switching is kind of fun.
Yeah.
But then it's over pretty quick. So Scooby gets captured.
Yes.
Yes.
And it turns out he's going to be the sacrifice, I think.
Yes.
I don't know if we've gotten to that part in the video or not.
And throughout this whole thing, Rowan Atkinson's character is like kind of like this goofball.
Yeah.
And he's like kind of like just, oh yeah, you guys can help me solve this mystery.
Yeah.
But it's like we find out he was the bad guy all along.
Yeah.
Like he's in the room interrogating Scooby and
Yeah.
stuff.
But there's one other good joke that made me laugh. I wasn't expecting it, but when he sees the picture and he goes, "Oh, hey, that's me," and then he smiles and he's making the same face. I've seen that joke before, but I don't know why. I just cracked up last time watching
It was a good gag.
There's a lot of
You know, I will
like,
say the CG for Scooby, you kind of like get used to it as the movie goes on. It's
Yeah.
real jarring at first,
Well,
and then you kind of like accept it.
They put him in a lot of like really weird scenes where it's like you don't. To sell the CGI, you don't have to do this. Like, they would do scenes where he's, like, holding Shaggy.
Yeah.
And it's, like, scenes where he's very close to, like, people, and then the lighting is off, and it's just super noticeable.
Mm-hmm.
But, I mean, it works.
Yeah. So the mystery team is talking. And again, Velma is distractingly hot in all these scenes. She's got the cleavage out. And I'm sitting there and I'm just like, I don't even know what the hell they're saying. I'm just a big Linda Cardellini fan right now.
So the weird part is like they come up with that plan, and it's like
Yeah.
they're about to go into the sacrifice chamber, which is getting prepped, and they establish that it's getting prepped. They get in there with like climbing gear, full construction gear, like all this stuff to lay out the most elaborate trap ever. Like nobody's watching this like sacrificial chamber that has been getting prepped for like how long now?
Yeah.
So,
And then, the bad guy has like a Shang Tsung soul well. That's what it was reminding me of, like a Mortal Kombat thing. So like all the bad guys show up, like something happens. They're like rope breaks or whatever, and they get stuck.
It was Daphne, Velma and Fred get distracted. Fred gets distracted by Velma's hotness, as you will say.
Yes.
Falls down. They do like the whole jump thing. Shaggy's line breaks, then Daphne's breaks. They get caught.
It all gets like messed up.
Yep.
But then they have to like blend in with the crowd and dancing.
So
and Shaggy like beats up a guy, and like Velma and Fred like fuck up, and they're all chanting that weird chant, and then they stop and like Fred's like still going.
Yeah.
I thought that was pretty funny. I was like,
who's with him when that happens? Is that Daphne?
Daphne's with him.
Why did she go along with it? It's like you're not gonna sell it. Just let him go.
So then Scooby-Doo dies.
Whoa! Spoilers! No.
I like watching that last night. I'm like, oh, he's technically dead.
Yeah.
How long can you be dead before they revive you without any complications? That's what I want to know.
I think there's a movie about
Scooby-Doo's
that.
coming back with brain damage, is what I'm saying.
What's funny is like Shaggy and Scooby make up like 20 seconds before that, and they come up with like this plan. He's literally just let's run away and scream. That's all we got to do. And it's like the best plan that they've had the entire movie. And it just gets like immediately killed right there on the spot. Like, oh, okay.
The bad guy falls down, but he's wearing a mask. It turns out it's not a mask. Turns out he's a robot. And who's inside the robot?
A la Men in Black. Just
It was a lot like Men in Black. Yeah, Scrappy-Doo's the bad guy in the movie. He's like the final villain.
So I have a weird issue now.
Okay.
Is Scrappy-Doo just a smarter person than Velma on this subject? He learned about an island that had a sacred relic that was only knowledgeable to the inhabitants of the island.
That's true.
Exploited some economy to get enough funding to get this guy to... Rowan Atkinson's character, he exploited him to get him to build a theme park on the island, intending to invite them 2 years later.
Yes.
Knew how to utilize this item to trap souls, and then how to transfer them with the like new mechanical stuff that he had built. Is he just a super genius?
He's a genius.
Yeah.
He can like reanimate the dead and summon demons. Like Scrappy is... There's a lot going on with Scrappy.
Yeah, and they just put him in a cop car.
Yeah.
Like he's getting out of that cop car.
Not before he turns into a giant monster.
Yes.
And he looks like a tiny tiger from Crash Bandicoot, just like on like more roids.
Yeah, this is the boss battle of the movie.
Yeah. And I forgot.
This is where your callback line comes into play, and he's like,
Yes!
"Oh, see, I Scooby-Doo, I want you. You mean Melvin Doo?" It's like, oh, we're just gonna damn him to purgatory next. Like,
I didn't expect the Melvin Doo callback.
We didn't mention this at all, but so Mondavarius has like two like underlings. It's like some guy I forget about, and then like the wrestler guy.
Oh yeah, the luchador.
Yes.
That part's that's like a fun way of like going against the formula where like Daphne beats up the guy.
Yeah.
Instead of getting kidnapped, stuff like that I didn't mind.
Well, yeah,
that guy's
black
dead
now.
Huh?
Oh yeah, that guy. No, that
guy's
literally
dead.
Oh yeah, dude,
he gets impaled on the soul
I was gonna say
thing.
because I said it last night when I was watching it. The cauldron has jagged, sharp edges, and he hits the corner of it. I'm like,
she just like kicks him through WWE style, of course, because there's like a rope there.
Yeah, there happens to be ropes.
Yeah,
that's the thing. He was a Telemundo wrestler, so it's only fitting that he died a wrestler's death. I guess. I don't know. I
don't know many wrestlers who died being impaled on cauldrons.
But do we see him at the end, like in handcuffs or anything?
We see the bald guy.
I'd have to.
He actually dead?
I think he might just be dead. We'll check the footage. He's probably alive, but the way it's filmed, it looks like he straight up died.
That's a result of her over those 2 years getting that black belt that they just kind of like.
Yeah, that's all that like
there.
pent up aggression from always being the damsel
Also,
in distress.
I'm pretty sure the disco ball of death was used in From Dusk Till Dawn when they kill the vampires at the end. And then it's weird. Fred and Daphne are in love at the end.
There's a lot of weird stuff actually during that combat scene. Even like. Fred is a proficient rope fighter, we find out. Shaggy is a obviously mechanical engineering genius or like operations genius because he's like moving the like arm that he's never used before. Yeah. It's ridiculous. And the romance is so weird. Like Fred and Daphne are in love, but then it's like Velma, when she's getting sloshed in the bar way earlier, met like one guy for like 5 seconds. Now they're in love.
Yeah. I wonder if maybe that was like one of the things that got cut out because I know there were a lot of things cut. Maybe they had. Because that's the thing. They were like dating in the beginning and then they broke up.
It makes Velma look super easy. I mean, it helps you, but no.
Oh, I love when she's like not being possessed anymore and she's done with the sexy outfit. She puts the sweater right back on. I'm like, why are you wearing a sweater out here?
So warm on this island.
So they find Emil in the Scrappy. They realize Scrappy is the guy, and they find the real Emil Mondavarius in like this chamber, conveniently directly under where they are.
Conveniently there,
and he's just like hoboed up. He's like the beard and like all like dirty and everything.
Yeah.
The very next scene, he looks exactly like he did in the beginning.
Yeah,
like, same
he
outfit
shaved.
and everything.
Like, did he shave?
He shaved. He showered. He got the clothes back. Like
he had to look good, like for the Coast Guard, which was weird because the Coast Guard was evil, but they still came apparently.
What was up with that scene where it's like the weird scene where he's like, "Help us," and he's like, they just start laughing. Were they like monsters?
Yeah, they were, but then like. Did they go back to the island and get killed? Are there still monsters out there?
They never said they were monsters. Were those just some weird, sick, sadistic, night patrolling Coast Guard guys? Just being
possibly.
Like, haha, your friends got kidnapped. Screw you.
Yeah,
that's possibly what it is.
That was a weird scene, yeah.
So yeah, that's... Oh, Scrappy almost curses. I thought that was funny.
When they slammed the door on him, yeah.
Alright, so watching this, I haven't seen this since... I mean, I saw it in the theaters. I saw it once on video. I might even have a tape, not on here. I might have like a bootleg tape of this somewhere.
A bootleg of the Scooby-Doo movie.
Yeah, I guess.
What kind of time period in your life would you pick that up at?
I don't know. Like that little Nicky behind you is a bootleg. You can see the computer mouse on the cover. Like they took a screenshot of the computer.
God, yeah, you can on his arm.
Yep. Anyway,
that's so weird. Okay.
Having rewatched it, I expected it to be like a lot worse.
Yeah.
When I was watching, I'm like, this is okay.
It's not
I would have liked a more like traditional Scooby-Doo. I don't mind like rewriting the formula, but like it really just became something else for a big chunk of the movie. The supernatural stuff I think really took me out of it.
Yeah.
But overall, it's kind of funny.
I still enjoyed it. I feel like the cast really holds it together.
Yeah. There are like the farting scene and the scene at the credits scene where they're trying like the hot peppers.
Yeah,
like, that's clearly meant for like real young kids. So maybe if I had seen this when I was a little younger, I would have liked it more. I think I just saw it in like a weird...
Are you saying that the movie that was based off a kid's cartoon was meant for kids?
Yeah, well, that's the thing. The movie is but the movie is like struggling with tone with the Mary Jane joke and stuff.
Yeah,
it's like it's not as good as we just did the Addams Family movies. And those are movies that are funny on every single level for every age group, and they please everyone.
Yeah, they are above and beyond. Yeah. Those are no question.
Yeah, so this one, it was kind of like, it seemed like they weren't really sure which direction they wanted to go in. I've not seen the sequels. I didn't see the second one. I don't know if you have.
I might have seen the second one, like, forever ago. I don't really remember it as much.
That's like the meme where he's like big and muscular, I think.
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah.
So I was probably in the same time period that you were when this one came out.
Yeah.
I saw the first one. I liked it a lot. Like I like this movie. I genuinely enjoyed it as like just a fun, just let your brain turn off and enjoy like a kind of goofy family-ish ride.
Yeah.
By the time the second ones came out, I was probably too busy being an edgy skateboarder to care about anything. So there it was. Yeah.
I didn't see it. They made like a couple spin-offs. There's one it's like a prequel with Daphne and Velma in like high school or something. I was like, how many of these friggin' movies are there?
I don't know if all of those are connected.
I'm not sure.
I don't know. Yeah, I don't know about the expanded Scooby-Doo.
Yeah, but I guess it kept Scooby-Doo alive. There's still Scooby-Doo stuff now.
Yeah, well,
new movies being made constantly, like
just
ones.
Before these came out, they actually did a run of Scooby-Doo movies direct to video.
Yeah,
that's when they did like the UFO one, the Zombie Island one.
I remember Zombie Island,
Cyber Chase, like that kind of stuff.
You know what was really good? Scooby-Doo did a Blair Witch Project parody.
Really?
For Cartoon Network.
That was like a promo, wasn't it?
They were like a series of like commercials, and then someone finally put them all together, and it's basically like a short film of Scooby-Doo as the Blair Witch Project. It was really, really good.
I'm gonna have to look that up.
Yeah, I want to see the abridged version of it where they actually put them together. That might be awesome.
Look, it's definitely a product of its time.
Oh God, yeah.
It hasn't aged super well, but it's not like the worst thing. Sometimes I revisit movies from my youth, and I'm like, oh, that didn't hold up well at all. Wow, Die Another Day actually kind of sucks. I don't know why I liked it so much.
It's not like the CGI and like the Langoliers or anything like that.
Yeah, I'm trying to think, like, what else came out around this time that I probably liked?
Didn't The Cat in the Hat come out around this time?
Oh God, I missed that one. But like I like the Jim Carrey Grinch.
Oh,
I like the Grinch.
Now I watch it and I'm like, oh, this movie really blows, and it doesn't get the idea at all. So yeah, it's not as offensive of those movies. It's like somewhere, it's in a weird middle ground for me.
Yeah, it's a good family-ish time. That's the best way.
Yeah, you won't hate yourself.
Exactly.
Yeah, this director went on to do Smurfs. I saw the first Smurfs movie in theaters. Me and my friend thought it'd be funny to see it as a joke, and it actually wasn't that bad.
Yeah, I saw the first.
It had there's one really good joke in there where they're talking about all the Smurfs they miss from their home. And they're like, you know who I don't miss? Passive-aggressive Smurf. He would always say nice things to you, but in kind of like a mean way. And I'm like, I laughed way harder at that than I should have.
You're sitting there in the theater, all the parents are getting real mad at you.
But yeah, so thanks for coming on, Brian and Mike.
Oh, thank you.
Where can people find you?
Oof. Well, probably on social media, just at Obsidia Brian on Twitter and Instagram. That'd probably be the best place. You can find my YouTube from there.
At It's My Bag, ITSMIBAG on Instagram, and my name, Michael Perella with 2 R's.
Ooh.
On YouTube.
Hey guys, if you made it to the end of this episode, I just want to let you know that next week, if all goes according to plan, there will not be a Talking About Tapes, but there will be a feature-length movie called Hack of the Living Dead. I digitally insert it myself and others into the original Night of the Living Dead. So hopefully I'll trim this out later on if it doesn't happen, but hopefully that'll be up next Monday. And I think you guys are really going to like it. Night of the Living Dead is public domain, but you never know if I might run into whatever print that I used is copyrighted. I don't know. But I've been editing it. I've been shooting and editing it all month, and it's actually turning out really, really good. If it doesn't end up on YouTube for whatever reason, I'll find another place for it so you guys can see it. But yeah, I think you're really, really going to like it. So check back next week for that.